to talk a bit about breathing and diaphragm breathing, because we talked about how people were very sort of shallow breathing up in here when they're in that reactive space. So what we want to do is to breathe deeper down into the parasympathetic space, which the neural cluster for the parasympathetic nervous rest and digest actually sits around here in the solar plexus. That's right, isn't it, Tim?
What's that? Sorry, you broke up on that bit.
Oh, sorry. I'm talking about the neurological cluster that sort of then feeds the parasympathetic response, being sort of located in and around the solar plexus area.
It is, yeah, for the heart. It is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm a big one in breathing. I can talk hours on the benefits of breathing.
I can breathe all day.
Well, you have to. In fact, I mean, you can't actually stop breathing. I bet everyone listening now, I bet you can't hold your breath for longer than a minute, and you'll have to start breathing because your body goes into panic. There's not enough oxygen coming in. I mean, what's horrible, you know, if you're consciously underwater, your body will still make you breathe. You know, that's how powerful the autonomic nervous system is. But anyway, that's not a very nice thought to think about. But yes, I'm a massive one in breathing. The reason why the diaphragm, we sit on our chairs with our shoulders up, and we don't allow our diaphragm to move, and then we get stressed I get stressed in my computer within 2 minutes, and I'm snatching my breath with my shoulders.
You come right close to it as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, if I get closer, it works better, I think. And it's a bit of an art that we've forgotten to do because we're not walking around and moving around like we used to. We kind of block our diaphragm out a little bit, and then we lose the ability as well for the diaphragm to work into the abdomen and into the pelvic cavities, and then help and into the sacrum, and where more of our parasympathetics are based there. So I always like to do breathing either lying down or standing up. So I'm just going to stand up quickly.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. And if you're watching at home and you want to practice this with us, I'd recommend you stand up now. Because this actually gives the diaphragm a greater space to move, and you get, it's almost like a massage into the abdominal muscles and the organs and everything as well.
Yeah, totally. It's about changing the pressures in the different cavities, and we've got all these ganglions, autonomic ganglions. They're all kind of in this area here, and it's just a nice way to sort of innovate them and to wake them up, if you like, or reduce them. And so so I do always my 1, 2, 3 breathing. So I take a breath in and I count to 3. And I hold my breath for 3, and then I let it out for 3. Mm-hmm. And it's really important when you're breathing, when you stood up, the whole point we stood up is so we can get this diaphragm moving down, and we can get, I don't know if you can see it, and when we breathe in, our sacrum moves backwards and forwards. So, you know, we're completely innovating everything down through the spine there. Okay,
when you're breathing in, we're really trying to fill up this belly like a balloon, and you get that real opening coming through. So
that's right.
That's right. And then as you're breathing out, it's like almost it contracts, but that's your diaphragm. Well, you can picture your diaphragm moving.
Yeah, so it draws everything through, and and as it's pulling down, it stimulates some of the ganglions. And so what's really important when you're doing your breathing is not to breathe up with your shoulders. We're breathing down. So when I breathe in, my lower hand fills out first, followed by my second hand, and then we hold in for 3 seconds and let it out nice and slowly. 1, 2, 3. And then also, if you're breathing, you can focus on your breathing. You can get in quite a nice meditative state. And that's when you get into a meditative state. There's been a lot of research that increases your alpha waves, and I think it's your theta waves. And that's one of the ways that you can really improve your parasympathetics by doing kind of getting into so it stops you from thinking and worrying, and you kind of just focus onto your breathing. So, you know, when you suddenly think you haven't got that from the shopping list, or you haven't done something at work, just, you know, bring yourself back to your breathing. Just
That's
focus.
like the counting.
Focus.
beneficial as well, isn't it? So just to recap, so we've got the hand placement. So as you're breathing in, you feel your lower hand expand out, and then followed by your upper hand. And then when you breathe out, it's the opposite, isn't it? So that one goes in, and then that one goes in. That's right, is it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's it. Just doing. Yeah, that's exactly right. So bottom hand moves out, followed by the top hand, and then when you breathe out, the top hand goes down, and then the bottom one comes in.
And then the bottom.
And so,
we're engaging.
and we're not using our shoulders.
Shoulders relax. So let's do it all together. If you're following at home, so one hand on your diaphragm, one hand on your belly. So breathing in to 1, 2, 3, filling your belly up. Breathing out, now engaging this diaphragm. 1, 2, 3, until you're empty. And then try that again a few times, keeping your shoulders nice and relaxed. And feeling that space growing in your abdominal space between your stomach and your tailbone, your backbone. And then feeling that diaphragm engaged. So we're breathing into the lower lungs, not the upper lungs. And
that's important as well for lung health, because you can get bacteria and other things can get stuck in the lower lungs if we don't use them properly.
Absolutely.
And the whole lung
find when you start practicing this breathing that you get a bit of clearing coming out of your lungs. And that's okay. Just keep it up. It's not because you're coughing, it's not a bad thing. It's releasing that congestion is good. So how often would you recommend people, should we sit down, check in with their diaphragm breathing? It's good to have awareness of it as often as possible.
No.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm saying all the time, but because we need to be breathing the diaphragm as much as we can. But if you can build that in again in a daily routine, or do it when you're trying to go to sleep or something like that, or waking up in the morning, really sort of like and the more you do it, the better your body kind of gets in a nice habit. It kind of remembers to do it, and you can do it subconsciously as well. And try and catch yourself as well. If you're working in front of your computer, just stop and go. Am I like this? Come and sit back.
Ideally, you're going to be stood up or lying down, but just kind of sitting back into your pelvis. So your pelvis becomes kind of more like a box, like an open box for you to breathe into and full, rather than this tilt and these cross legs and this depressed hip flexors and that, which we'll move into. You're not actually better breathe into there, and you think you've got some of your most vital organs that nestled into this very base area of your pelvis, which are just getting depressed throughout your day. So even if I guess sort of once or twice in the day, you can just stand up and have 3 or 4 big breaths, sit down and see how much better you feel. But I like that you touched on using this as a sleep aid as well, because so many people are spending time in this reactive space that when they go to sleep, they're still there, and your body is saying, well, we can't go to sleep. There's a tiger that's going to jump out of the bush. So this is what we're getting to in this, by engaging your parasympathetic nervous system, you're going to find it easier and just more natural, and you might even just like that be able to fall asleep as you fall into this rest mode.